Commander Lee Minho walked through the massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber. The room was huge, bigger than any building on Earth. Strange lights floated in the air, and the walls seemed to be made of living crystal that changed colors, slowly. He had been to this place many times before, but today felt different. Today, every alien species in the galaxy was here for one reason. They were all scared of the same thing. The Vextai were there first. These aliens looked like walking diamonds, tall and thin, with light shining through their clear bodies. They made soft musical sounds when they talked, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. But today their music sounded worried and sad. Next to them floated the Luminar. These creatures had no solid bodies at all. They were pure energy, looking like colored clouds of bright light. Usually they glowed with happy yellow and blue colors, but now they pulsed with dark red and orange, showing their fear. The Corvani filled one whole section of the chamber. They looked like giant ants, but they all shared one mind. When one spoke, they all spoke the same words at the same time. Their voice echoed through the room like thunder. Even they, who feared nothing because they were so many, seemed afraid. Today, Minho took his seat in the small section marked for Earth. Humans were still new to this galactic community. Most aliens still thought of them as primitive creatures who had just learned to travel between stars. Earth had only joined the Galactic Council 5 years ago. The Council Prime, a very old Vextai whose crystal body had turned white with age, began to speak. His voice filled the chamber through special devices that translated his words into every language. "We gather today to discuss Element X," he said. "This mineral has proven to be the most dangerous substance ever discovered in our galaxy." Minho knew about Element X. It was a rare blue crystal found on only a few dead planets. When scientists tried to use it for energy, strange things happened. Very bad things. "Show them the records," the Council Prime commanded. The air in the center of the chamber shimmered, and suddenly everyone could see a three-dimensional movie floating in front of them. It showed a research station called Keth 9. The station was huge, home to over 10,000 scientists from different worlds. In the movie, the scientists were trying to use Element X to create clean energy. At first, everything looked normal. The blue crystal glowed softly in its containment chamber. Energy readings showed it was working perfectly. Then something went wrong. The crystal began to pulse faster and faster. The air around it started to bend and twist like heat waves on a hot day. Scientists ran in panic, but it was too late. A hole appeared in the air itself, like someone had torn the universe like paper. The hole grew bigger and bigger. Everything near it was pulled inside. Equipment, walls, people. They all stretched and twisted as they disappeared into the dark void. Within minutes, the entire research station was gone. Not destroyed, just gone, as if it had never existed at all. The movie ended, leaving the chamber in complete silence. This happened 3 times, the Council Prime continued. Station Keth 9, Facility Omega 12, and Research Base Tethys 4. Over 30,000 beings lost forever. Each time, the cause was the same: attempting to use Element X for energy. A Luminar delegate pulsed with bright white light as it spoke. "Our scientists believe Element X reacts with quantum fields in ways we cannot control. It tears holes in the fabric of space itself." The Corvani Collective spoke next, their thousands of voices joining as one. "We have run computer simulations. Every attempt to harness this element leads to dimensional collapse. It is not just dangerous, it is impossible to use safely." Minho listened carefully. He understood their fear. Seeing entire research stations vanish into nothing would terrify anyone. But part of him wondered if they had tried every possible way to use the element safely. The Council Prime held up a crystal tablet. "Therefore, the Galactic Council hereby votes to ban all research, mining, storage, and use of Element X. This prohibition applies to every member species. One by one, each species cast their vote. The Vextai voted yes, their crystal bodies chiming in harmony. The Luminar voted yes, flashing bright agreement. The Corvani voted yes with their thunderous, unified voice. Every single alien species voted to ban Element X completely. Finally, It was Earth's turn. Minho stood up slowly. He could feel thousands of alien eyes watching him. The weight of representing all humanity pressed down on his shoulders. Earth accepts this prohibition, he said clearly. Humanity will not research or use Element X. But even as he spoke the words, Minho's mind was racing. Earth's energy needs were growing every day. Their colonies needed more power to survive and grow. Solar energy and fusion reactors were good, but they might not be enough forever. The meeting ended with formal documents being signed and transmitted across the galaxy. As Minho prepared to leave, the Council Prime approached him. "Commander Minho," the old Vextai said privately, "I hope your species understands the seriousness of this ban. Element X is not just dangerous. It is death itself given physical form." Minho nodded respectfully. "We understand, Council Prime." But as he walked back to his ship, one thought kept repeating in his mind. The aliens had tried to use Element X, and it had killed them. But had any humans ever tried? Dr. Park? Jisoo stood at the window of her laboratory on Luna Base, watching the lights of New Sol Colony flicker like dying stars. The colony that once blazed with bright energy now looked sick and weak. Half the lights were already dark. The solar storms had started 6 months ago. Massive explosions on the sun sent waves of deadly energy across the solar system. These storms destroyed the delicate fusion reactors that powered human colonies. One by one, the lights were going out. "How many more today?" Jisoo asked her assistant, Dr. Shin Mina. 3 more colonies lost power completely," Mina replied, her voice tired and sad. "Titan Base is running on emergency power. They have maybe 2 weeks left." Jisoo turned away from the window. She was Earth's best quantum physicist, but even she felt helpless. Backup generators could only do so much. Without the big fusion reactors, human civilization in space would collapse within months. "What about the Galactic Council?" Mina asked. "Have they offered any help?" "They sent sympathy messages," Jisoo said bitterly. "Very kind words about how sorry they are for our situation, but no actual help." The truth was harder to admit. The alien species had their own energy problems. They could barely power their own worlds and ships. They had nothing extra to give to the struggling humans. Jisoo walked to her private desk and pulled out a locked drawer. Inside was a small data pad containing research she had been doing in secret. Research that could get her arrested if anyone found out. The data pad contained everything she had learned about Element X. Director Kim Hyunwoo entered the laboratory at that moment. He was the head of Earth's Department of Energy Research, and he looked like he had not slept in days. His hair was messy, his clothes wrinkled, and his eyes were red with exhaustion. "Jisoo, we need to talk," he said quietly. They walked to a private meeting room where no one could hear them. Hyunwoo sat down heavily in his chair and put his head in his hands. "The Colonial Council met this morning," he said. "We have maybe 4 months before we have to abandon the outer colonies completely. Mars colony might last 6 months if we are lucky." "What about Earth itself?" Jisoo asked. "Earth will survive. We still have enough fusion reactors working there. But everything else, all our progress into space, all our colonies, all our dreams of expanding to other stars, it will all be gone." Jisoo took a deep breath. This was the moment she had been preparing for. "I have another option," she said quietly. She placed the data pad on the table between them. Hyunwoo stared at it like it was a poisonous snake. "Please tell me that is not what I think it is," he whispered. "Element X research," Jisoo confirmed. "I have been studying it for 2 years. Every report, every experiment the aliens tried, every failure they experienced." "Are you insane?" Hyunwoo stood up quickly. "That stuff is banned for a reason. It kills everything that tries to use it." "It kills aliens," Jisoo corrected. "But has any human ever tried to use it?" Hyunwoo sat back down slowly. "You want to test forbidden alien technology that has destroyed entire research stations?" "I want to save humanity," Jisoo replied firmly. "Look at the data. Every accident happened when alien minds tried to control Element X, Vextai minds, Luminar consciousness, Corvani collective thinking. but never human minds. She opened the data pad and showed him charts and graphs. Human brains work differently than alien brains. We think differently. We process information differently. We even dream differently. What if Element X only reacts badly to alien types of consciousness? Hyun-woo studied the data for a long time. Outside, they could hear the hum of emergency generators keeping the base running. Everyone knew those generators would not last forever. Even if you are right, Hyun-woo said finally, the Galactic Council will never allow it. They will think we have gone crazy. They might even send ships to stop us. Then we do not tell them, Jisoo said simply. The room became very quiet. Both humans understood what she was suggesting, a secret project to test the most dangerous substance in the galaxy. If they failed, humanity would die anyway. If they succeeded but were caught, they would become enemies of every alien species in the galaxy. How would we even get Element X? Hyun-woo asked. It is banned. No one minds it anymore. There are still some samples in research storage on Earth, Jisoo explained. Small amounts that were kept for safety studies, enough for initial testing. Hyun-woo was quiet for a very long time. Through the window, they could see another colony's lights go dark in the distance. If we do this, he said slowly, and it goes wrong, we could kill everyone on Earth too. If we do nothing, Jisoo replied, humanity dies anyway. But slowly and sadly, watching our colonies go dark one by one. Hyun-woo looked at the data pad again. The numbers and charts seemed to glow in the dim light of the emergency power. Where would we build the facility? He asked quietly. Jisoo smiled for the first time in months. Titan. Far enough from Earth to be safe if something goes wrong. Hidden enough that alien sensors will not detect it. Project name? Prometheus, Jisoo said. The Titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans. Hyun-woo nodded slowly and reached for his communication device to call Earth Command. Humanity was about to break the most important law in galactic history. Ambassador Kethavar of the Vextai sent urgent messages to every ship within 50 light-years of Saturn. His crystal body was flashing bright red with panic as he spoke into the communication device. Emergency evacuation required immediately. His translated voice echoed across space. Human colony on Titan is activating Element X. Dimensional collapse expected within hours. All ships must leave the area now. Captain Yelnara of the Luminar trade vessel was the first to respond. Her energy form pulsed with terror as she changed course away from Saturn. Confirmed. We are leaving the system. May the void have mercy on those foolish humans. The Corvani collective mind spoke through 1,000 voices on their nearby exploration ship. The humans have chosen death. We will not die with them. All units withdraw immediately. But on Titan Station, hidden deep beneath the orange moon's thick atmosphere, something very different was happening. Engineer Choi Dae-ho stared at his instruments in complete amazement. He had expected to see chaos, destruction, and reality falling apart. Instead, his screen showed the most beautiful energy readings he had ever seen. This cannot be right, he whispered to himself, checking the instruments again and again. The Element X sample sat in the center of the containment chamber, glowing with soft blue light. But unlike the violent, angry glow that alien records described, this light was calm and steady. It pulsed gently like a sleeping heartbeat. Dr. Yoon Nara rushed into the control room, expecting to find panic and emergency alarms. Instead, she found Dae-ho sitting peacefully at his controls, watching the most stable energy reaction she had ever seen. What is happening? She asked, looking at the readings. Where are the dimensional tears? Where is the reality collapse? There are not any, Dae-ho replied, his voice full of wonder. Look at these numbers. The Element X is producing clean energy at 97% efficiency. No radiation, no quantum distortions, no dangerous side effects at all. Nara moved closer, to the containment chamber. The blue crystal inside seemed to glow brighter as she approached. Without thinking, she placed her hand against the transparent wall of the chamber. The moment her palm touched the surface, something incredible happened. The Element X crystal pulsed in perfect rhythm with her heartbeat. The energy readings jumped higher, but remained completely stable. "It is responding to me," she whispered in amazement. "The element is actually responding to my presence." Deho quickly ran new tests. Every time a human came near the Element X, the energy output increased and became more stable. When humans moved away, the output decreased but remained perfectly controlled. It was as if the dangerous crystal was trying to please the humans, trying to work with them instead of against them. Dr. Park Ji-soo arrived at Titan Station 3 days later to see the impossible results for herself. She had spent months preparing for disaster, but instead found the most successful energy experiment in human history. "Show me everything," she demanded. The team ran test after test. They increased power output, decreased it, changed energy frequencies, and tried every dangerous procedure that had destroyed alien stations. Every single time, the Element X remained perfectly under human control. "We need to understand why this works," Ji-soo said. "Run brain scans on everyone near the Element X. I want to know what makes human minds different." The results were fascinating. Human brain patterns created specific quantum frequencies that seemed to calm the Element X reactions. Where alien minds produced chaotic, unpredictable quantum fields, human consciousness generated stable, organized patterns that the crystal could follow. "It is like music," explained Dr. Yoon Nara. "Alien minds create noise and chaos. Human minds create harmony that the Element X can dance to." News of the success spread quickly through encrypted human communication channels. Captain Bae Jinwoo received the first reports while patrolling the outer system in his ship, the Soul's Pride. "Command, you need to see these energy readings," he reported to Earth. "My instruments show impossible power outputs from Titan Station. Whatever they are doing down there, it is working better than our best fusion reactors." Within a week, human engineers across the solar system were requesting Element X samples for their own tests. Every single experiment produced the same results: perfect control, clean energy, and no dangerous side effects. But the aliens did not know this. To them, the humans had gone insane and were playing with forces that would destroy everything. Panic spread through the Galactic Council as reports came in that humans were not only surviving Element X exposure, but were actively using it for power. "They will kill us all," transmitted the vexed High Council elder. "Human ignorance will tear holes in space-time itself." The Luminar High Command began moving their ships away from human space. "We must protect ourselves from their madness." The Corvani Collective made the first threat. "If humans continue this dangerous experiment, we may be forced to stop them, by any means necessary." But in the secret laboratories on Titan, Europa, and hidden facilities throughout the solar system, humans were making the greatest energy breakthrough in galactic history. Element X reactors came online one by one, powering colonies that had been dying just months before. The lights were coming back on across human space, powered by the same element that had terrified every alien species in the galaxy, and nobody outside humanity knew that it was working perfectly. Admiral Song Mina watched the enemy ships appear on her screens one by one. First came the crystal ships of the Vexed High, looking like flying diamonds that sparkled with deadly energy weapons. Then the Luminar vessels materialized, pure energy, constructs that glowed like small suns in the darkness of space. The Corvani brought their hive ships, massive black structures that looked like flying cities, each one carrying thousands of warrior drones. Behind them came dozens of smaller fleets from species that humans had barely heard of, all united by one thing: terror of what humanity was doing. "Final count, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Han Soo-young from her communication station. 3,200 enemy vessels. We have 187 ships total." The numbers were impossible. Even if every human ship was perfect, they were outnumbered almost 20 to 1. But these were not normal human ships anymore. "All ships, this is Admiral Song," Mina spoke into her communication system. "Remember, we are not fighting for conquest or glory. We are fighting for the right to exist. Show them what Element X can do in human hands." The first attack came from the Vextai. Their crystal ships fired beams of concentrated light that could cut through normal ship armor like paper. The beams struck the human destroyer Soul's Hammer, commanded by Captain Otewin. Everyone expected to see the human ship explode into pieces. Instead, something incredible happened. The Soul's Hammer seemed to split into 3 identical ships. The enemy beam passed harmlessly between them. All 3 ships fired back at the same time, their Element X-powered weapons hitting the Vextai vessel from different angles. "How is that possible?" demanded the Vextai fleet commander, his crystal body flashing with confusion. "One ship cannot be in 3 places at once." But Captain O was just getting started. His ship phased in and, out of normal space, appearing behind enemy vessels, firing, then vanishing before return fire could reach him. The Element X reactor on his ship was bending the rules of physics, allowing movement through dimensions that normal ships could not access. Commander Kang Yuna's frigate, the Busan Runner, demonstrated another impossible ability. When a massive Corvani hive ship fired its main cannon directly at her, she did not try to dodge. Instead, she flew her ship straight into the energy beam. The Corvani collective mind watched in horror as the human frigate absorbed their most powerful weapon, like a sponge absorbing water. The energy that should have destroyed the ship instead made it glow brighter and move faster. "Impossible," the collective voice thundered across all Corvani ships. "Energy cannot be consumed and converted like that." But the Busan Runner was already using that absorbed energy to power weapons that fired back with twice the force of the original attack. The Corvani hive ship's shields collapsed under the returned power of their own cannon. The battle that was supposed to last minutes stretched into hours as human ships performed maneuvers that violated everything the aliens knew about space combat. Ships appeared in multiple locations simultaneously, passed through solid matter without damage, and converted enemy attacks into additional power for their own systems. Captain Lee Dongyun's heavy cruiser, the Inchin's Might, faced off against 5 Luminar energy vessels at once. The aliens surrounded him and fired from all directions, creating a cage of deadly energy that no normal ship could escape. But Dongyun's ship did not try to escape. Instead, it expanded. The Element X reactor allowed the ship to exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. From the aliens' perspective, the human cruiser became a giant sphere of metal and energy that touched all 5 of their ships simultaneously. When it fired its weapons, all 5 Luminar vessels were hit at point-blank range. "This is not warfare," transmitted the Luminar High Command. "This is something beyond our understanding." Admiral Song watched the battle unfold from her flagship, the Earth's Dawn. Her tactical display showed impossible things: ships moving faster than light without jump drives, weapons that fired through solid objects, shields that grew stronger when attacked. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Han, "we are receiving surrender requests from 17 enemy vessels. They want to withdraw from the battle." More and more alien ships began to retreat as they realized they were fighting something completely outside their experience. The quantum effects of Element X in human hands were turning their carefully planned invasion into a nightmare of impossible physics. A massive Vextai dreadnought, the largest ship in their fleet, attempted one final attack. It charged all its weapons and fired everything at once directly at the Earth's Dawn. Admiral Song stood calmly on her bridge as the enormous energy beam approached her ship. At the last moment, she gave a simple order: phase shift. Full spectrum. Her ship became translucent, like a ghost made of metal and light. The Vextai beam passed completely through the Earth's Dawn without causing any damage. But as it passed through, the ship's Element X reactor absorbed and stored every bit of that energy. "Return fire," Song commanded. The beam that fired back was 10 times more powerful than anything the Vextai had ever seen. It struck their dreadnought and overloaded every system on the ship instantly. The massive vessel went dark and began drifting helplessly through space. That was the moment the galactic fleet broke. Ships that had come to destroy humanity now fled in complete panic. The organized invasion became a chaotic retreat as thousands of alien vessels jumped to faster-than-light speed, desperate to escape the impossible human weapons. Within 6 hours, the space around Earth was empty, except for human ships and the wreckage of alien vessels that had been too slow to escape. Admiral Song looked at her tactical display, hardly believing what she saw. They had won. Ambassador Lee Sunho walked through the corridors of Station Nexus 7, but this time he was not alone. 2 human guards walked with him, carrying weapons powered by Element X. The aliens who passed them in the hallways looked at those weapons with a mixture of fear and fascination. The same station where humans had once been told what they could and could not do now felt very different. Alien diplomats stepped aside respectfully when Sunho approached. Some even bowed their heads slightly, something that would have been unthinkable just a few months ago. The council chamber looked the same as always, but the seating arrangement had changed dramatically. Instead of the small corner section for Earth humans now sat at the center of the room. The alien representatives formed a circle around them, like students gathering around a teacher. Council Prime Zethari, the old Vextai leader, was the first to speak. His crystal body had lost much of its bright color since the failed invasion. He looked tired and defeated. Ambassador Sunho, he said formally, the Galactic Council wishes to understand how humans can safely use Element X when it destroys everything else. Sunho stood up slowly, enjoying the moment. For years, humans had been treated like children by these ancient civilizations. Now those same aliens were asking humans for help. The answer is simple, Sunho replied. Element X is not dangerous by itself. It only becomes dangerous when it meets certain types of consciousness. He activated a holographic display that showed brain scan patterns. Your minds work differently than ours. When Vextai consciousness touches Element X, it creates chaos, because your thoughts are too organized, too perfect. The element cannot follow such rigid patterns. The Luminar representative pulsed with curious light. What about our consciousness? Your energy-based minds create too much interference, Sunho explained. Element X responds to your thoughts by becoming unstable. It is like trying to tune a radio while standing next to a powerful transmitter. The Corvani Collective spoke with their unified voice. And our hive mind? Too many thoughts at once, Sunho said simply. Element X cannot decide which mental pattern to follow, so it creates dimensional tiers trying to respond to all of them simultaneously. An uncomfortable silence filled the chamber as the aliens absorbed this information. They had spent centuries thinking Element X was inherently evil, only to learn that the problem was with their own minds. Human consciousness is different, Sunho continued. We think in flexible, adaptable patterns. We can change our mental approach when something is not working. Element X responds to this flexibility by becoming stable and controllable. Counselor, Yithmore of the Anthelian Republic raised a tentacle to speak. If this is true, why do you not simply teach us how to think like humans? Sunho smiled politely. Can you teach a fish to fly? Your minds evolved over millions of years to think the way they do. Changing that would make you into different species entirely. The real question came from the Vextai economist, Kristal Nethara. What do you want from us? This was the moment Sunho had been preparing for, the moment when humanity would reshape the galaxy. We want to help, he said simply. Earth offers to share Element X energy technology with any civilization that needs it. The aliens looked confused. After the battle, they had expected humans to demand territory, resources, or political control. Instead, humans were offering to help their former enemies. There are conditions, Sunho continued. All Element X facilities must be operated by human technicians. All Element X reactors must be built and maintained by human engineers. And all Element X shipments must be transported on human vessels. Now the aliens understood. Humans were not conquering the galaxy by force. They were making themselves absolutely necessary for galactic civilization to function. Director Ryu Haijin, Earth's new Minister of Galactic Energy, stepped forward to explain the practical details. We are prepared to build Element X power stations. On any world that requests them, these stations will provide clean, unlimited energy for your civilizations. At what cost? asked the Luminar representative suspiciously. Standard galactic credits for construction and maintenance, Hajin replied. The same rates you pay for any other infrastructure project. We are not trying to rob you. We are trying to build a better galaxy for everyone. The Corvani collective, huddled together, thousands of minds discussing the offer instantly. Finally, they spoke. If we accept this offer, we become dependent on human technology. What happens if relations between our species deteriorate? Sunho had expected this question. The same thing that happens now when any species stops trading with another. You find alternative energy sources or you negotiate better terms. We are not threatening anyone. We are offering a service. Over the following weeks, the offers began to come in. The energy-starved Rigel colony requested the first Element X station. The Vexthai homeworld, facing power shortages from their aging crystal reactors, submitted a formal application for human assistance. Even the proud Corvani, who had led the invasion against Earth, quietly requested Element X reactors for their outer colonies. Within a year, human-operated Element X facilities were powering dozens of worlds across the galaxy. Human engineers became the most valuable people in known space. Human transport ships carried the precious element to every corner of civilized space. The species that had once tried to limit human expansion now competed to hire human technicians and purchase human technology. Earth, which had been treated as a minor member of galactic civilization, became the most important planet in the galaxy. And at the center of it all was the blue crystal that aliens had banned as too dangerous to use, now powering their worlds and keeping their civilizations alive, safely controlled by human minds that saw opportunity where others saw only death.